Batman is one of the strongest single target epic DPS in DC Worlds Collide, and he plays a huge role on the Debuff Team, one of the top 3 teams in the game right now. His kit is simple but deadly. He scales damage based off enemy debuffs, stacking armor breaks, and hitting extremely hard when fully invested into. But is Batman worth building if you're not running the Debuff Team? Or does he only shine in that comp? In this video, we'll break down his entire kit, strengths, weaknesses, gear recommendations, team synergies, and my final verdict. If you enjoy these reviews, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming character guides, team builds, or anything else DC Worlds Collide related. I also stream Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays at 6 p.m. EST, so I hope to see you guys there. Also, my Discord channel is now up and running. If you guys are interested in that, the link is down below in the description. Now, let's go ahead and jump into Batman's breakdown. The first thing we want to go over is his skills. So, Batman's ultimate. Batman ambushes a single enemy with 4 strikes, each hit dealing 90% of his attack as physical damage. For each type of debuff on the target, the damage gains a 10% bonus up to 30%. At level 2, the damage is increased to 105%, and at level 3, the damage is increased to 120%. This makes Batman a true debuff scaling DPS. The more stacks your enemies have, the harder he hits. For his basic attack, Batman attacks twice, each hit dealing 60% of his attack. At level 2, the damage is increased to 65% of his attack. And at level 3, the damage is increased to 70% of his attack. A simple filler skill, but because it hits twice, it's going to synergize really well with his passive. For his advanced skill, this is going to deal 110% of his attack to an enemy row. And at level 2, this is going to increase the damage to 125%. And at level 3, the damage is going to increase to 140%. This lets Batman spread pressure across multiple enemies, especially in PvP. Now for his passive. This is going to increase Batman's attack by 20%. On top of that, each of his attacks add 1 stack of armor break for 2 turns. At level 2, this is going to increase the attack boost to 25%. And at level 3, this is going to increase it to 30%. This passive makes him both a strong DPS and a debuff enabler for his team. Now, let's go ahead and talk about Batman's badges. At level 10, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th hits of his ultimate deal 5%, 10%, and 15% more damage respectively. At level 20, those bonuses jump up to 15%, 30%, and 45%. And then at level 30, they skyrocket to 25%, 50%, and 75%. Plus, if the target has 3 or more debuffs, his ultimate also applies Fear for 2 rounds. With a max badge, Batman can absolutely shred single targets, and he adds a little bit of control at the same time. Now, as for Batman's strengths and weaknesses, his strengths, he has a high single target DPS that scales directly with enemy debuffs. He also has consistent debuff contribution through his armor break. His badge upgrades turn him into a monster, adding Fear for even more damage. He fits perfectly into the Debuff Team alongside Sinestro, Grodd, and Raven. And he has a strong performance in both PvP and PvE. Now let's discuss his weaknesses. Batman's damage relies heavily on enemies being debuffed. Without debuff allies, he's much weaker. As an epic unit, his stats aren't as high as some of the legendaries, so he needs investment to keep up with some of the legendaries. His badge scaling is important. Without it, he's good, but not amazing. And Batman is a pure DPS role, which means he doesn't offer utility outside of the debuff synergy. So how does Batman perform across the game? In Arena, he's very strong in the debuff team. He stacks armor break quickly and punishes debuff targets with his ultimate. For Elite Arena, this is going to be the same as Arena. As long as you have the right setup, Batman consistently pulls his weight as a DPS. In PvE, he's great in campaign and boss fights when paired up with other debuff units. but he's weaker if run solo or without more debuffers. Overall, Batman is not a generalist DPS, he's a synergy-driven damage dealer who excels in the debuff team. Now, as for gear recommendations, for Batman, gear should focus on maxing his attack and keeping him fast enough to apply debuffs consistently. So his primary build, I wanted to build him a little bit faster, so we went with 4-piece attack set and 2-piece speed set. This gives him raw damage plus the speed to land debuffs early and often. The alternative build to this is going to be a 4-piece crit set and a 2-piece attack set. If you have good luck with crit rolls, this will boost his burst damage. It's going to be strong in PvE boss fights. The utility build is something for a flexible option if you're still building out your gear, and this is going to be a 2-piece attack set, a 2-piece speed set, and a 2-piece crit set. Your stat priorities for Batman should be attack, speed, crit, and crit damage. He doesn't need HP or defense. Batman is a damage dealer. It's very plain and simple. For the artifacts for Batman, I believe that the Chaos Crystal is pretty good. At the start of round 2, he's going to sacrifice 20% of his HP to gain Power of Chaos. That increases his damage amplification by 25% and lifesteal by 15% for 2 rounds. At level 2, when it's triggered, he's going to additionally get 3 stacks of haste and 3 stacks of frantic. And at level 3, he's going to cleanse and grant himself immunity to all control effects, debuff effects, and action bar knockback effects. And his damage amplification is going to go up to 40%. Another good one that I like on him is going to be the Vial. At the start of the bear's second, third, and fourth turn, he's going to deal 50% of his attack to a front row ally with the highest maximum HP. And then he's going to heal himself for 100% of that damage. At level 2, it's also going to gain 1 stack of sturdy armor for the target that he took the HP from. And then at level 3, the target who he took the HP from and the bear both gain a stack of hard hit. So he's going to get a stack of hard hit as well as the bear at level 3. And the free-to-play options that I like is going to be the Enhanced Sphere of Red. At the start of battle, the bear's attack power is going to be increased by 1500, and then it scales again at level 2 to 3000, and then at level 3 it's going to go to 4500. And then the other one I kind of like, if you want to build Batman a little bit more critty, you can have him use the Enhanced Sphere Orange. At the start of battle, the bear's crit rate is increased to 4%, and then at level 2 it goes up to 8%, and then at level 3 it goes up to 12%. I think the Mega Rod is pretty good if Batman's able to ult multiple times. When casting the ultimate for the second time, each part of the damage dealt by the ultimate progressively gains 15% damage amplification up to 30%. So if you're using Batman to really nuke down an enemy, then this one's going to be really good. At level 2, this is going to gain a 50% defensive penetration for the third part of his attack. And then at level 3, damage amplification gained by each part of the damage is increased to 25%, up to 50% instead. So he is going to be doing a lot more damage with this, especially with his ultimate. If you can get him to ult multiple times in a fight, this one is going to be really, really good. Now for his team synergies, Batman shines brightest in the Debuff Team, where every member stacks effects that make his ultimate stronger. So Sinestro, Grodd, and Raven are going to pair very well with Batman. For Sinestro, Batman's armor break is going to fuel Sinestro's power of fear stacks and debuff scaling. Grodd is going to keep the front line safe while adding slow and weaken for extra control. And Raven can revive anybody who falls in combat while also adding even more debuffs for Batman to exploit. Together, these 4 form a top tier comp. Sinestro melts enemies, Raven sustains, Grodd tanks, and Batman adds consistent armor break and single target burst damage. Without Batman, this team can lose a lot of DPS consistency if you don't have a replacement DPS. So should you build out Batman? If you're running the Debuff Team, the answer is going to be yes. He's optional, as there are a few other DPS characters that can fill his role, but His consistent armor breaks and debuff scaling damage keep him and the comp very dangerous. If you're not running the debuff team, Batman is still a decent DPS, especially in the earlier stages of the game. So what is going to be my final verdict on Batman? So people who are going to be running the debuff team, he is optional, but is incredibly strong in this comp. For other comps, he is also going to be optional, but he is a very good flex DPS. And that's going to be my full breakdown of Batman in DC Worlds Collide. Do you think he's the best epic in the game right now, or does somebody else take the crown? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming guides or anything else DC Worlds Collide related. The next guide is going to be a full debuff team guide. This is going to be a guide where I put all 4 characters together and see how well they work. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. Guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away.